casual. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Women in Innovation event celebrating International Women's Day 2023. First of all, happy International Women's Day, everyone. It is wonderful to have you all here and welcome you to this event. And it's a great opportunity for me to also kickstart this event. My name is Daria, and I serve as an International Affairs Officer for Chulalongkorn School of Integrated Innovation in Chulalongkorn University, and we are hosting today's event together with the Embassy of Israel to Thailand. Well, we're now in year 2023, which is 175 years after the first Women's Rights Convention was held in New York in 1848. So it's been 175 years. We've gone a long way. I'm not gonna disagree with that. It's been a long way. We've done a lot of things. There's no way to deny it, but yet most of us continue to face people who believe that the issue of gender equality, or for the sake of today's conversation, women equality and female empowerment does not exist, that there's no really an issue here. There's usually the two types of disbelievers, ones who believe that it never really been an issue and it's hardly, ever been, and the second believe that the issue has already been resolved, that there is no more issue about gender inequality. Well, unfortunately, the numbers are not really on their side. So according to World Economic Forum Global Gender Gap Report of 2022, a global gender gap has been closed by 68.1% in 2022, so just a little over the half of it. And at the current rate of progress, this will take another 132 years to reach parity. So we've gone 175, and we have another 132 to go. But these predictions, these are far away future. We're talking about today. So today, globally, women hold only 24% of senior management positions, earn only 68% of what men earn, and one of the worst numbers in this, I think, is receive only 2% of venture capital funding worldwide. That, I think, is especially important as, for example, Chulalongkorn School of Integrated Innovation, we try to groom global citizens and entrepreneurs. So more than 50% of our students are girls, yet we have to deal with numbers such as 2% of venture capital funding worldwide goes to women-led businesses and women-led startups. Most of us also agree that women should have the same rights and opportunities as men. But surprisingly, in Thailand, only 17% of men and only 21% of women identify themselves as feminists. There was one of the questions there at the front to cast your vote, whether you consider yourself one or not. And it was nice to see that most of you do, even though some are not sure. But there are a lot of women and men who still believe that feminism is not really a thing to be a part of. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that we can do much better than this in terms of numbers. And this is why I think these conversations are really important, having our speakers here as an example for the students in the audience to be able to seek mentorship and maybe be an example of. Also having our students ask questions to the speakers. So these speakers who are here today, and we're very honored to have them here today, who are real change makers in the world, to listen to what the concerns of the audience and the new generation is, to maybe help and move further into the future. And also to have us all here, not as just having a conversation, not for the sake of conversation, but maybe for the sake of getting out of here afterwards and act as advocates for the importance of female empowerment and gender equality. At Chulalongkorn School of Integrated Innovation and Chulalongkorn University, we recognize the critical role that women play in fostering innovation. And so by promoting this equality in all aspects of university life, from classroom to the boardroom, this is the only way that we can fulfill our obligation to sustainable development goals. And we have to remember that the only way we can become the leaders of the future of education here is through diversity, equality, and inclusion in mind. Anyways, these are all the long words that you're very aware of, but without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speakers today, and we can start our program right after. So Allow me to start with Her Excellency Ms. Orna Sagiv, who is the Ambassador of Israel to Thailand here with us. Well, give a round of applause. We also have Ms. Saranee, who is also known as Faunglada, who is the owner of Flourish Digital and LDA-Ladies of Digital Age. We are honored to have Ms. Maneerut, or also Kun Nok, who is the CEO of ScII Thailand. And representing Chulalongkorn University is Professor Dr. Kaywalee Chatdarong, who is the Vice President of Strategic Planning, Innovation, and Global Engagement of Chulalongkorn University. So I think we can go ahead and start and jump right into our first speaker, who is Her Excellency Ms. Orna Sagiv. May I ask you to please come on stage? All right. Round of applause.
Good morning, Sawadika. It's really nice to be here. I think this is the most beautiful venue that I've seen, and I visited here some places and universities, but this is so nice and cozy and have a feeling of a family here. When we were thinking about what are we going to speak about, and is there a difference between an Israeli woman or a Thai woman or from anywhere else in the world? So I thought to start by asking you, if someone would ask me, what did you do before you became a diplomat? And I would say, I was an English teacher. Most people would say, okay, fine. Yeah. Would nod their heads and say, smile, okay. But if you ask me the same question, and I would tell you that before I became a diplomat, I was in the military service in Israel, and I was a tank instructor. What's the reaction of most people? Most people would say, really? You were driving a tank? You were shooting from a tank? What's the connection between being in the military and then becoming a diplomat? But this is it's a men's job. Why did you do that? So I'll get back to that maybe later on, but I think just to start by saying that even today in 2023, we don't take it for granted that men and women, they can do the same work, they can do the same jobs, and they are actually doing that in many places in the world. But still, I think for all of us, many times we are kind of surprised when we hear of something that is kind of not in the mold that we have in our heads for what a woman should or can do. And I think that the fact that we are standing here today in 2023 with so many women that are so successful and they are role models is because of our mothers and grandmothers and women that were strong enough and women that did not take it for granted and they did not accept those molds that this is what a woman can do, this is what a woman should look like, this is what a woman should have with, her dress and her hair, and they change the world, and they change it for us, even for things that today we take for granted, like the right to vote. This was not something that we kind of were used to as women until not that long ago. So I think that today, in the International Women's Day, I always remember, like I wouldn't say the forefathers, but the foremothers that really brought us to today. Now, today, the topic is women and innovation. And unfortunately, all over the world, this is a term that in my opinion, we don't hear enough. And if we look even today at the world workforce, only less than 1/3 of the workforce that works in high-tech, in that industry, less than 1/3 all over the world, they are women. The numbers, in my opinion, is way, way too low, even today in 2023. And then I ask myself, why? And when I ask myself why, I look at Israel. In Israel, we are very happy to call ourselves the startup nation, the unicorn nation. We see ourselves as a country that technology is really at the forefront. We are always, technology is something that is, moving us forward. But also today in Israel, you can see the development centers of all the big international, multinational companies, Intel and Google and Facebook, and almost we have more than 300 multinational companies that are present in Israel. They have their development centers in Israel, meaning that Israel is kind of known as being a startup nation. When you look at the numbers, about 10%, more than 10% of the workforce in Israel work at this high-tech industry. And still, the large majority there are men. Still, women are not there enough. I mean, I would expect in Israel today to have at least 50% women there. We are not there. We are not there. Now, my government has been trying for many years now to try and understand the reasons and also try to answer that with some programs that would encourage girls, especially from a young age, to choose STEM professions when they choose their studies. It starts from the high school, sometimes even from the middle school. And I can tell you, I can tell you about my daughter. My daughter is here now. She's almost 18. And when she was on the 7th grade, she was elected and she studied in Israel in a special gifted class of children. They had about half and half, boys and girls, which was good. And they were all, they were chosen, and that was good. When they had to go to high school, most of the girls, they said, we don't want to continue with this gifted special program because they require too much of mathematics and science. We are gifted, but we want to study art. We want to study English. Why would we go to all of those technologies? We want to be influencers. And you look at them and you say they are as smart. At the same time, and I was actually watching this group of children. And the boys, some of them finished, they started university studies like in math and sciences while they were still at high school. And most of the girls chose, to slowly move away. This is something that for me, I believe that it's maybe the education system, maybe parental fault. I really don't know, but I think we need to do much more. Today, the government actually tries to put more effort in order to convince girls to choose those STEM professions. And we can see when we go to university, if we actually compare it to 10 years ago, we have 65% more women, today more women students that study the STEM professions, STEM. It was not like that 10 years ago. So I'm trying to be optimistic when it starts with the education. But again, I think that we have to change something in the minds of the girls and really make them believe in themselves much more in order to say, yeah, you can do that. It's not too difficult for you. You are smart enough to do that. You are as smart as the boy next to you, if not more. And I think this is something that, again, is education. We try to emphasize on role models. And there was, for example, one 17-year-old girl in Israel that developed with her classmates some kind of a small satellite that was sent even into orbit. And that was something that was all over the news and the press. And why? Because it was part of also it did not just happen, it was intentional to try and show young girls that, look, you can excel. You can send a satellite to orbit if you are working hard and if you want it. I think that the big question is how to convince young girls that they want to put this extra effort and they want to do more than they can. Now, when we look at the startup industry in Israel, I have to say that I'm very proud, and we just found out that there is the 15 most powerful women in startups. It's an index by Forbes. And in those 15 women, we have 3 Israelis. And these are women that are very, very successful. They started a startup by themselves or with their partner. One, for example, they started in 2009. They started a very successful home remodeling and design platform that became, like, not only in Israel, but all over the world, became so popular. Another one developed a payroll automation platform. Again, very successful. Another one started some kind of online education platform, and then today she moved. All of those startup entrepreneurs, and we have some entrepreneurs here with us today, people that are successful, they will go on and be successful in other things. They will not just do the first startup, they will have their exit, and that's it, sit at home and enjoy the money. These are people that will try again and again, and usually be successful again and again. By the way, I want to say another thing, because you're all quite a young crowd. In some cultures, it is okay to try, but if you fail, it means that you are a failure. In Israel, this is not the way we look at that. And we believe that entrepreneurs, especially when it comes to startup entrepreneurs, they will fail. They will fail once and twice and 3 times, but at the end, they will be successful. And we don't regard their failures as you are a failure. We believe that this is part of the way. And we hope, and what we saw, that for women, the failure is much more difficult, and women take it upon themselves, like, I failed. It was my failure, and I can never recover from that. So I tried once, I failed, and that's it. So I give up. I'm going to be a housewife. So I think this is another thing that we try to encourage girls, that it's okay to fail. You failed once, twice. If you have a good idea, if you have something good, just, move on with that. And again, there is the MasterCard index for women entrepreneurs of a MasterCard. Israel is #1 in that index, and I hope we will stay there for women. Now, it's not only the innovation. We see that not only in high-tech, we have a Nobel Prize laureate in chemistry. Actually, the only laureate, most of them are men, so we have one woman that has the Nobel Prize for chemistry. We have a female president of the Supreme Court in Israel. Actually, we had a few before. Israel was the 3rd country in the world that had a woman prime minister in 1969, Golda Meir. So this is something that for years we try to push and support women to be successful and innovative in every field. Often when we think about innovation, in our minds, it's immediately technological innovation. But it's not necessarily. You can be innovative, you can be creative in every field that you choose, but you need to believe in yourself and you need to want it enough. I want to say a few words about young women in Israel. In a way, it's also my story, and since we have not a very long time, I'll say it very quickly. You're young girls, and again, I look at my daughter today, who is almost 18. In Israel, at the age of 18, we all need to go to a mandatory military service. Men and women, boys and girls. So when all over the world, young boys and girls, when they are at their graduating years, they are thinking about, what am I going to study? Where am I going to study? Do I want to go to the US? Do I want to go and study in Australia? Do I want to stay here? What do I want to do when I grow up? In our case, we don't think about it when we are 18. We think about, what am I going to do in the military? Do I want to go to a combat unit? Do I want to be a pilot? Do I want to go to intelligence? What do I want to do? And our boys and girls, they have to go through a lot of very difficult tests and exams, physical, psychological, and also knowledge, just to be chosen to best units in Israel. Now, this is the situation today. When I was young, when I was 18, I had to think, what do I want to be when I become a soldier? By the way, girls, they have to go for 2 years, to serve for 2 years, and boys for about 3 years. So when I was 18, I thought to myself, do I want to sit at the office the whole day? I can do that, that's okay. But maybe I will do something that will influence my life. I didn't even know how much it will. And at a very young age, I became a tank instructor. What does it mean? It means that we were a group of women, of young women, the age of 18 to 20, and we were actually teaching, training the men how to use the tanks, how to drive a tank, how to shoot. We carried very, the missiles, they're not very light, so you had to carry it, you have to load it, you have to do a lot of things. Now, for me, it taught me at a very, very young age that I can do everything as good as men. Again, maybe sometimes better. And when you are so young and you stand in front of a class, that some of them, or some of the trainees are your age, but some of them are 40 because they come for advanced kind of training, and you stand there, you are just like 18, and you teach them. You are the one with the knowledge. You are the one who is the trainer. It gives you so much, I believe, for the rest of your life. And this is something that I believe that Israeli women receive at a very young age, and it is not something that is happening all over the world. Now, today, women in Israel, after the year of 2000, when one girl wanted to be a pilot, and the army said, no, the Air Force, they said, no, women cannot become pilots. You can sit at the office, you can be a trainer, but pilots, this is for men. Men are in combat units, you can do that. So she went to the Supreme Court, and she won. And since the year of 2000, women in Israel can be pilots, they can be in artillery, they can be in combat units of infantry, they can do everything they want. But again, it's their choice. If a woman wants not to be in a combat unit, just be in intelligence or do anything else, it's her choice. And I think that this is something that is very unique, and it gives you a lot in a very young age. Now, I want to repeat a little what our MC Daria mentioned when she started. I think that we mark today the International Women's Day. And we do have a lot of success to celebrate. And we have a lot of women contribution in many sectors. We have and had women presidents and prime ministers and CEOs and diplomats and pilots and astronauts even. So some men, they come, and especially men, but also women, some people come and ask, why do we need International Women's Day? Why don't we celebrate International Men's Day? We don't need it. You are already there. You reached. So we heard what Daria was saying about 32 years until we reach. But I think that today, when we look very closely, we don't just look kind of from the top. When we look very closely, we realize that women are still not there in most countries. When it comes to the most important junctions of decision making, women are not there. When it comes to the high-tech industry, the numbers are still low. Women are not there when it comes to peace negotiations. They are hardly. I think the number is close to zero when it comes to peace negotiations, how much involvement there is for women in peace negotiations all over the world. So I believe that even in the developed world, we see that there is still a huge difference between men and women. Women they are getting paid less. We still suffer from economic and social differences, and it's always against the women. I cannot even find one case that the women, like overall in one country, they are better off than the men, not even one country. When it comes to employment, when it comes to education, when it comes to health, when it comes to, feeling safe, when it comes to violence against women, sexual violence, psychological violence, and really physical violence. Women suffer still from all of that all over the world. And this is the developed world. When I'm going to the less developing countries, in many places, men still believe that women need to obey to them. Women are there, and they can tell them how to get dressed, how to put their hair. We all see what is happening in Iran those days with women that start saying like, excuse me, but no, and we see the consequences for those women. So I think that we unfortunately still need the International Women's Day. We still need to remind ourselves that this sisterhood is still needed. And we still need to remember that we are still not there. By the way, there is not even one country in the world, one country that has, that reached this men and women equality. Not even one country, not even the most advanced country in the world, there is no equality, full equality yet. So I think that yes, it's our responsibility as women, but I don't look at that as a feminine struggle only. I believe that men must, and in many cases they are, part of this struggle. The society will be so much better when we have diversity, when we have women everywhere. And this is something that for us as society, we need to struggle for that. This is not something that only women need to struggle for themselves. We need to educate our daughters. We need to push them to take more challenges upon themselves. And we need to teach all the young girls that they are worth and they don't need to work twice as hard as men in order to prove themselves. You are good. You are, I'm saying that at the third time, you are at least as good as the men, if not more than that. I have to, to conclude and really trying to be optimistic. And I think that we will reach there. I'm not sure that in my life or even my children's life, 132 years, it's still quite a long way to go. But I believe and I hope that maybe if I meet all of you again in 5 or 7 or 10 years, so when you tell people that I have a unicorn, I'm a unicorn founder, or I became the highest paid program developer, people will not say, oh wow, she's a woman and still she did it, but they will say, it makes sense. Like they would admire you, but they would admire you the same way they would look at men. So I hope this day will come, and I hope that we are kind of on progress, but still we have a lot to do. I want to thank you all for coming here today, and I want to thank the Chula University for hosting us really and doing all of this magnificent work, and our two co-guests, but really thank you so much for taking the time and coming here, and I'm very curious to hear all of you today. And happy Women's Day, International Women's Day to all of us. Thank you so much.
Okay, so me next. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, the Embassy of Israel and Chulalongkorn University for having me here. My name is Faunglada Saranee Sanguanruang, which actually my present role is the content creator, the business owner doing the entertainment content in tech innovations, and also a mom of a daughter of 2 years old. So it's quite challenging for me to be like in so many roles, in so many hats. And I'm so glad to be here as one of the representative of the International Women's Day. So I see that the environment here is quite cozy. So it's going to be like the sharing session and impromptu speech from me, like sharing my background experience and my point of view towards the women's struggle or challenges as being in tech role and also the male dominant society. Okay, so let me go back then when I started my career in the tech and innovation field. I started my career back when I just graduated from the Faculty of Arts, Chulalongkorn University. Actually, previously, when I become a teenager, I feel like most of the people that we I choose to study the linguistic things and because I enjoy the languages and I also enjoy music. So I choose to study Japanese major back in high school, and then I follow through the stereotype of women that go to Faculty of Arts, be a singer of CU band and blah blah blah. So, but when I graduated Faculty of Arts, I got a chance to work for the television programs called Ba Tai High Tech, which is the 8 years long running program, which is hosted by 4 men. And then I become one of the girl in that TV programs. And actually, I really, really enjoy the job there because previously when I started as the career as the TV host, it was when I was 19 years old. I started to be the news reporter about entertainment related fields like actor and actress gossip news, which I really enjoy the job of speaking, but I don't enjoy the content, because I feel like I don't have a chance to use my brain. So when I got a chance to be the TV host for the Tech and Innovation program, I really, really enjoy it. But okay, I feel like this back then it was like 8 years ago when I started my career here. So it's quite intriguing for me to understand and get to know every new things about tech and innovation updates when I was the TV host for that show. But again, when I was in that show, even if I enjoy the content and I feel very intrigued every time I study the news thing and deliver the message to the audience, in that show, because I'm a woman, people perceive me as a muse, muse in the male dominated show. I have to act something like Kawaii or cute, in order to like please the male audience or something like that. So it's quite a little bit challenging and not feel right for me a little bit when I was working for other people. So when the online industry come, when the internet come and YouTube come, I decided to start my own channel and my own website and everything that Facebook and every content back then. I started back then when I was 25 years old and started my company back then. It's because I don't feel that people would have to perceive female TV host in tech as a muse only. It's because I very enjoy learning things about, startups, technology, gadgets, and things. And I would like to tell it in my own sense and my own, inner and energy. So when I started my own channel and do the successful contents, I feel more fulfilled, and that energy, I believe, is sent through the channels and the audience, and they can feel my ambition for doing technology content. And then after 3 years time, I feel that okay, I have this chance to work in the male dominated, male I would say that technology previously is like the male industry, so-called. When I have a chance to know that things, I decided that this is the career path that I would like to enable other young female to have the happy, good income and things that fulfill the life like me. So I started to rebrand my channels to be Ladies of Digital Age, which now I have like so many batch of young girls that come to study innovation things and tech things. So this is going to be quite an impromptu speech because actually it's my first time giving the speech in English solo also. So apologize for any inconvenience. Okay, Ladies of Digital Age. So right now I have run the Ladies of Digital Age for like, this is the 3.5 years. And what I do, I put the young women who is eager to do the content and maybe not have the experience in technology field before, or some of them came from being an influencers, like fashion and beauty on Instagram, but then I invited them to learn and to get intrigued about innovation and what the future holds, like me. So it's now we have so many, young women to spread these technology things out there. Okay, and talking about the challenges as the women entrepreneur and also the women in technology field, I think being the entrepreneur and being a female, I have two sides of the story. Female and women, we have power of empathy and sympathy. One of the good side is that we really care for the team. We really care for the clients. We really care for the audience. We can touch their heart. That's a good thing. In my office is very, family feeling. It's everybody feel really connected and really feel passionate about their work. But the challenges, I think, is that sometimes we are overly empathy and sympathy in some way, because we try to feel what you feel, and then sometimes, as a challenge for me as a CEO here, sometimes I think that's a thing that I have to improve, because sometimes I think I feel too much for the employees and for the people. So it's quite challenging, but it's also have the good side. And also being a mom and an entrepreneur at the same time is not easy at all. Maybe I would like to hear from Pinok because she is an idol for me. I'm the new entrepreneur mom. So it's quite hard for me, but I think it's the challenge that we have to manage our time very, very well and put the things that is your first priority first in your time schedule. For me, like previously, I think I couldn't adapt that well, because like the past my past whole life, I always devoted to work and to, I'm a very hardworking woman. I don't have work-life balance before, but when I have my own daughter, I think it's a gift. I think it's a, is the new purpose of life, which I think she comes to help me go out of, some obsessive thinking about work all the time. Even if I think at my age, I'm now 31 years old, I think I reached the success point of the career path already, also the money and financial and everything, like people said. But I really never feel successful because of the imbalance of work-life balance, I guess. But when the daughter comes, she is everything for me now. And then the company and the things that I run, the Ladies of Digital, is also the purpose of my life too. So it's quite hard, but I think maybe I'm still figuring it out how to manage well both family and both career life, but I think we can overcome it. And yeah, because I still believe that women doesn't have to be only mom and wife, but we can pursue our dreams. We can do whatever we want. We can exercise the best version in us and expose it to the world. So if you guys have any dreams, any inner voice that comes out, I think listen to it and then put your effort in there. Believe in yourself, believe in the society, and believe that women can do it. So thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. And first of all, also thank you, the embassy. And again, thank you, Chulalongkorn University, for having me here today. So excited to be here again. I was with science on the first day that the program started, like 4 years ago, and now like about to see the first batch graduate. I'm so excited. My name is Nok Naka, and I'm a CEO of ScII Thailand. Just quickly introduce ScII. We are the technology company. We run 3 business. Garena is the game business, Shopee e-commerce, and SeaMoney, which is the finance services product. Today, actually, yeah, I think the embassy already share your view, and Kun Fuyang also share the views about the women. I think for myself, probably want to highlight a little bit more about the difficulty, the challenge that the women entrepreneurs may face in nowadays world, and how we, women sisterhood can help each other. I think I consider myself lucky, I guess, that I grew up in the environment where they value 4P: passion, patience, persistent, and perseverance. They value those 4Ps over gender, over other things. So, as long as you work hard enough, as long as you dare to go and put your best in that particular situation or whatsoever, you can grow. I was lucky. I grew up in that environment, and that's how I live my life through the lens of equality. However, I do aware that, the gender inequality is still an issue in our society, and how, the women can support each other is very important. Let's see if I have the slide here. Yeah, I think it's very, very prepared. Right? Thank you to my team for the slide. I think there's a lot of research. I think as Ms. Daria mentioned before, that, somehow the issue is still there. Sometimes we're not aware because, if you're asking me, I'm probably one of the group that say, I don't think it's an issue, because in my experience, I never really think that is an issue, but I do aware now that it's actually still an issue across the society. And it's even more visible, when many research come out. And actually this one come out from the ScII group. We did a survey, the study with the UNICEF to basically understand we want to understand the impact of COVID-19 to the Thai entrepreneurs. But somehow there's one big finding that it came out was that the women entrepreneurs actually got hit harder. And why is that? They actually suffer more from income loss and the mental health, because female, for some reason, probably couldn't really handle the pressure that come during the COVID-19, right? The business was bad, everything was bad. So they were probably like struggle more to handle with the pressure that happened. Even those that more resilient and probably have like better initiative, better idea of the business, also dare not to do it because of the fear of failure. Like the embassy mentioned, they probably want to do it, but they're afraid that they're gonna fail. So they don't move forward. They just stop that. Or even those that probably not afraid to fail, they want to do more, but they have limited access to the support that they need. In nowadays, digital is very important. They probably don't get enough support in terms of digital skills. They don't get enough support in terms of the funding. And most importantly, they don't have enough support from people around them. So they lack of confidence. They don't believe in themselves. So that's why, in our survey, we found that the women entrepreneur actually, getting more serious after a serious impact after the COVID-19. And having said that, then for our, being a sisterhood, being a female CEO, and being in the digital industry, we feel that we should be able to do something. And this is one of the programs that we come up with. We call it Women Made. And basically, it's the program that support female entrepreneurs, and we believe that we can help them to reach their full potential to become the business owners and become successful in digital environment. In this program, we actually partner with a creative economy agency to help, support the female entrepreneurs who join this program. And that's basically 3 things that we do for them. First of all, we train them, and we believe that in order to become successful in the business, no matter you're female or male, there are 2 things that you need. You need the digital skills, technology side, and you need to be creative. So we train all of those. We give the female entrepreneur a chance to get the training they deserve in order to become successful in their own area. And secondly is the mentorship and networks. We actually provide the experts, the digital expert, e-commerce expert, creativity expert to provide a workshop for them. And they also get one-on-one. And more importantly, they start building the network, the sisterhood network. That's very important to get the support and somehow collaborate across the female entrepreneurs. I think that's very important too. And last but not least, some seed funding, so that like if they have idea, they have initiatives, but they're afraid, they don't want to use their own money, they're afraid of loss whatsoever, they can use this money to kick off some of the ideas, some of the products. The result was very successful though. We out of the female entrepreneurs that joined our program for 2 months, they put their products and sell it on Shopee platform. In about a month, their revenue actually increased by 20%, which is quite impressive. But more importantly is all of them, 100% of them saying that they are now more confident. They are now believe that they can do better, they can do more. And that I think is the result that we want from the program. We actually want the female entrepreneurs to believe in themselves, that they can do more, and that they can, inspire others as well. And by doing so, these female entrepreneurs can become successful, can become a role model for, the young female generation, that, you can see that this is the successful case. You can also be a part of them. We then, put all those knowledge into the ScII Academy to share it in a wider group with the hope that, this can inspire female entrepreneurs, young generation to see that, if you put yourself hard enough, if you believe in 4P, as I mentioned before, if you have the passion, if you're patient, if you're persistent, and you perseverance enough, you can become successful as well. But this is just, the small part of the thing that we do. I believe that as a female, leaders, the female entrepreneurs who probably have experience, we believe that we can do more to help support the system. And I think it's very important that the young female entrepreneurs believe in yourself. I think we all of us already addressed that. It's very important to believe in yourself, that you can do that. If not equal, you can even do better than, your peers or whatsoever. So don't make it an issue. Just believe in yourself, believe in your dream, and push your best. And I believe that you all will success in whatever way that you're gonna do. Thank you.
So good morning and thank you. I would like to first of all say thank you to Her Excellency for choosing Chulalongkorn University as a place to make this event happen. And I'm going to introduce you to a different world of the women today. And the guest speakers were talking about entrepreneurship and startup, but I'm in another side of the world, which is very scientific, really profession. I'm originally a veterinarian, and I have a lot of regulations, ethics, and blah blah blah. That like a border, like a cage that fix me inside that cage. However, in my idea, I'm not using men as a benchmark. I think we are different, and as you may read the philosophy a philosophy book named Men from Mars and Women from Venus, and I think we are different, and I accept what I cannot do compared to men, and I accept what are the advantages that I can do superior to men. So I'm a lecturer in my whole life. You may a little bit bored of my lecture slides, but I have to go on in this stage anyway. Yeah. So now I'm the Vice President for Strategic Planning, as you know, and I have been assigned by the President to taking care of SDG 9, which is by the impact ranking, and SDG 9 cover the industrial. We have metrics and KPI and OKR to follow and to lead the university. And in my job, I have to take care of industry, innovation, and also infrastructure of the university. That's why I'm standing here with you. And I have to say that I'm a little bit new, about 10 months to join the executive committee at the university. So I think communication, collaboration, and critical thinkings are the 21st century skill that AI, that cannot be replaced by AI. And do you know, among these skills, and I would say all of these 3 skills, women can do superior to men. You know, we are very good at communication. We are good at talking. We are good at speaking. Do you accept? And we have a tool that men doesn't have, which is the collaboration skill. We have temperament. We can dress differently when you go to different events, and as you know, collaboration skill. I think, in my opinion, I don't know, would you agree with me? But communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. Why critical thinking? I think women do very well in critical thinking. We think a lot of things that are covered or that are hidden from any issue. And my past executive administration I was the president of the Veterinary Practitioner Association of Thailand for 2 periods, which were 4 years, and it was 12 years ago. And then I was the vice dean for academics. So almost the whole life I dealing with veterinarian profession and lecturer and the academic in the academic area. I was graduated at DPM, and I go on academic or the academic task to reach the highest academic, which is the professorship A1, 5 years ago. Have nothing to do now with the academic, with the professorship, because it's already the highest in the professorship. So what I'm going to do next is to devote myself to the university where I graduated, and not only the university, and as you know, Chulalongkorn University has been a leader in many. This is something that I received awarded from my profession. So I will quickly go on. To know my research area is, as I know, as I said, I dealing with veterinarian and also agricultural science. This is my profile when the professors and lecturers in the university are talking about, and maybe it is kind of information that in this place may not be very much interesting. I was awarded as Professor A1 for 5 years ago, and my research has been collaborated with many universities in the world, and now this is the OKR of the university, to be the first university in the THE and QS ranking. So I'm going quickly. These are the objectives or the strategies of the university to build future leaders, to build impactful research and innovation, and also sustainability according to SDG. And the university has taken 9 SDGs to follow, and why these 9 SDG? Because it involves research, and the policy of the president is now to use to change research university, to change teaching university to research university that teaches. So just to know, and I think I will finish my talk here. So just to know what I'm doing, and in the past what I was doing, and I'm very honored to be here with you and share with all the young generations compared to me. Okay, so I'm from another world, and thank you very much for having me here today.
Okay, works. Here we are. Thank you so very much to all of the speakers for giving these individual presentations. We wanted to finish this session off with just having all of us at the front. So may I invite all of the speakers to come to the front, where I will ask some questions that I've been keen to ask our speakers, but at the same time, if you have any questions brewing in your mind, please make sure that you remember them, and we'll have an option of you asking them to our speakers as well. So we called it like, maybe I'll join you at the here, because otherwise I feel like I'm doing more than I am. We've called this as a panel session, where we've called it Powering and Advancing Women in Innovation, which is a rather broad topic, and thus I just wanted to ask you a few questions that I've had, and otherwise you feel free to jump in or have a discussion of your own. Quite a few of you mentioned that there are strategies that need to be implemented in order to advance women in innovation. And you all come from very different backgrounds. But I was wondering, maybe we can start with Kunnok, because she's in the field. But what specific actions do you think the companies or organizations can take so they can ensure that gender equality exists in the innovation field?
I think that the two keywords here that I like to highlight, diversity and inclusion. Diversity is definitely, we need to make sure that in the company, we need to ensure that we have enough different mix of identity, that each of them is interesting in their own way. But at the same time, inclusiveness is very important. So how can we make sure that each individual, can contribute, can participate, can feel that their ideas are heard and valued by others, no matter what identity they are. That's very important thing. And that's, I think as a company, if you remember these two words and you put that into action in everything you do in the company, that would probably help. It can be as simple as, start from the recruiting. So when you recruit, you have this diversity sense in mind. You're looking for, different type of people, different background. You try to add the diversity into the company. So that's a very beginning way to start with. And then definitely the company should have, fair compensation and fair promotion procedures, right? Her Excellency said, equal work, equal pay. Right? I mean, if the women can deliver the same thing, why pay different, right? So the company has to have that policy in place. And, the very simple action can also be something like you have this diversity and inclusion training to raise the awareness of, everyone in the company hold accountable for that. It's not just, the CEO, the C-level, or the HR department that, need to act on this, but everyone in the company should hold accountable for that. Lastly, this probably broad and may take longer time, is the company should, try to do the inclusive company culture, where, they make, everyone has a sense of belonging, sense of acceptance, the sense that no matter identity you are, what gender you are, what nationality you are, you can be a part of the company. I mean, if that type of culture can be embedded in the company, then I think you can have this diversity, and gender equality happen in the company. That's just my thought.
Yeah. If we were to scale a bit up and look at the country level, Ms. Sagiv, you mentioned that Israel have been doing pretty well in terms of the gender inclusivity. I wanted to ask, what role can the government policies and programs play in promoting gender equality and empowering women to take their mark in the field?
So I completely support what Kunnok was saying. I think when we look at inclusiveness and diversity, I think we need to look at that as individuals, as companies, and really as policies at the government level. I totally agree with everything that was said about diversity, but I think it also, the government also needs to be actively involved. One thing is even to encourage companies to kind of support the studying of STEM professions in schools. And that can be being done directly by the government with the schools, but it can also be done through the companies. If the companies will actually kind of adopt schools and go there and become some kind of role models. I strongly believe in role models. I believe that we can speak as much as we want about policies. At the end of the day, if two young, successful women like yourselves are talking to young crowds, they look at you as role models and they say, we want to be an entrepreneur. We can be successful because if they are, we can learn from them and we can become. So I really strongly believe in role models. When it comes to policies, I also believe that the government should support sorts of flexibility that will allow more women to go and work and not feel guilty because they kind of do not work hard enough at home, or they are not enough, do not spend enough time with their children. I can tell you that I have 3 children that are now older, but when they were young, I had to struggle all the time, feeling guilty. If I'm at work, why I'm not at home, and if I'm at home, why I'm not at work. And I think that if the government gives you flexibility, that you can work from home sometimes, even for government employees like myself, if you can have flexibility, that you don't have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can start at 10 and finish later, this is another thing that is government policy. Another thing is that I believe that governments need to have policies that support diversity kind of actively. That it's not only a decision of the employer if he wants to have diversity or not. I believe that diversity is good for innovation, diversity is good for society, and the government in a way need to enforce it if people don't do it by themselves. And when I speak about diversity, it's not only for women, it's also for people with special needs. It's for all sorts of groups in the society that sometimes are not so advantaged, and they do not even have the chance to get the first option. So I think that, again, diversity should be kind of coming from the government level at all. I also believe that the government needs to give some funds, special funds, to encourage women, to encourage them to be part of incubators. In Israel, we have all sorts of incubators for people that come from the IT industry, for people that are entrepreneurs, to give women the sense that they have the capability to get resources and to get mentorship and to get the network. And I have to tell you, I told you before about the military service in Israel. At the end of the day, I can see men in Israel that are much better in networking. They have a really good network, and they will always help each other because he was the commander and he knew this one, and they're all from the military service. They are all interconnected. And for women, we have it much less. I strongly believe in networking because networking will get you to the right places. There will always be a mentor or someone to kind of pull you up. There is going to be a mentor or someone that will give you the resources. And this is one thing that for us as women, we need to learn how to do it for ourselves. We are not good at that, I have to say that. And many times women that get to the top, they are very happy being like the queen bee and enjoying, being there at the top without other women. And we need, what I heard here today was very encouraging. And I know that for myself at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, when I got to the top job, I knew that I wanted to see women around me. Not always I was successful, but I wanted to kind of pull women because I knew that if I wasn't going to do it, the men networks, they will keep, promoting men. So I think this is also partly our job.
That's true. I wanted to touch upon the point that you raised in terms of the context of Israel and Thailand is very different. Maybe girls don't get that particular opportunities for network or training here as they get in Israel. So I wanted to maybe ask a question to Professor Kaywalee. In terms of training and education, what role do you think it plays here in Thailand? Like, what role do we play here as an education institution to prepare girls for leadership positions, for advancing in different fields, and how we can do maybe a better job at it as well?
I think in the university we have quite very good ecosystem, which we raise the issue of equity, and we don't have any men or women issue for veterinarian. Yeah, for example, in the past when I was a student, we have a quota for women, only 10 in a class, only 10 from 70. So you will see how majority the men are. And it said, veterinarians have to to learn with livestock, with cows, with large animals, with horses, and it said in the past that men can do this better than women, but nowadays it changed and it's turned opposite way, that women are more are the majority in the veterinarian science than men, and they compete each other with the same examinations, with the same admission exam to enter the university, and all that men can do, the women can also do. We don't have any, and you know, I'm the first lady in the department that I was working at as well, and that's an issue that should the department build up a resume or washroom for women, for lady, which never been exist in the department before. So I was the first lady in the department, and I don't know, I think I don't feel any reluctant or difficulty in living in this society. Yeah.
Okay. I think it was a very common thread of different talks today that, you know, we can do it as well as men do, and sometimes better. So I wanted to focus a little bit on that better part. I wanted to ask you, maybe Professor Kaywalee, what qualities do you think that you've had that allowed you to, you know, go through all these higher up roles and do things maybe a little bit better than men? I wanted maybe the women in the crowd to look at themselves and specify the qualities that you think would, you know, help them as leaders of the, you know, future and not of the past. Like, were there any qualities that you think you have that allow you to advance in your career?
Yeah, I think it is the determination and focus. What I focused was to be in the highest, not to be there, to do the best in my job, in my career, and I want to help my idea as the lead of the profession, and as I shown in my slide, that collaboration and networking, it made you to go out from the shell and go to the world. And I was lucky that when I was the president of the association, the veterinary association, I always was the representative of Thailand to connect with other in international association of the veterinarian. So I had the opportunity to see what happened outside the shell or outside Thailand. So that I bring those ideas to initiate in the profession and want to move this and very focused. So yeah, and I think lucky also. Or the fortune also one of the key success.
That's true.
Apart from
it has to be the two, right? It has to be determination, but at some point it has to be luck. And I think the change makers like you actually help craft that future luck for some of the new generation. Kun Faunglada, what about you? The qualities that you think allowed you to advance in tech and maybe keep advancing, and the things that girls of the new generation should, you know, focus on or should, you know, be very proud of and should push through.
Okay. From my point of view, I think the determination and endeavor also. And I personally, I never think that, I never perceive myself as a female. I perceive everybody as equal, you know. I believe that everybody can be the best version of themselves, no matter what nationality you are, no matter which gender you are, and we try our best. In, you know, I am the women in technology field in terms of content creator, right? But I believe that men also be the beauty blogger and so many things, as long as they are truly interested in that career and that field of, you know, things they are interested in. And I think one another quality is the mindset that everything is possible, as long as you put your effort in it and you dare to go out of the box or something like that. I think it's my point of view. And can I add a little bit, because I'm the female entrepreneur, my top level of management is all the female in my company. I'm so proud of that. And my company is very female dominated, men in my company is they are true men, they are straight, but they have the quality of, a little bit of กระเทยนะคะ a little bit like that, and they can live in my company. And I believe that female, we're gonna have more and more female entrepreneurs, especially SME in Thailand. And I know a lot of girls entrepreneurs that run the company like girl boss, and I think there have a lot more room for female to grow in career, especially in SMEs area and entrepreneur part. Yep.
Sagiv, you come from a very male-dominated field. Any qualities that you would like to highlight that would help you excel?
So first of all, I really like the 4 Ps and 3 Cs, which is something that I will adopt. It's really it's nice put. I thought about this question and it's hard to say, because for me, since I joined the foreign ministry, even joining the foreign ministry in Israel, it's a tough competition. We are a small country of less than 10 million people, and in order to have 23 people at the cadet course when we started, there were like 2,000 applicants. So it's a competition from the beginning. And when I look back, I've been a diplomat now for 30 years. I had to compete every few years. You have to compete for a new job. You move from here to there, and you need to compete for promotion. You need to compete for your rank. It's not like a private company that you only get valued for what you are, but you have to compete all the time against very successful people, most of them men. So from the beginning, I told myself that, again, I'm a competitive person, so I always look up, and I never go like that. I always look up. And I saw at a certain point of my life, some of my friends, some of the women that started with me, they said, like, now we have children, so we don't want to go to developing countries. We want to, to go to London, to go to Rome, even if we are like number 6 at the embassy, but our lives are going to be much more comfortable and easy. And for me, I never thought like that. I said, okay, I got to this point and I said, okay, now I can be head of mission, I can be a consul general, let's go to India. Now, India is not an easy place to live with very young children, but by the way, we enjoyed it very much, but it was a challenge. So for myself, I am never afraid of challenges, and I always want to break the glass ceiling. For me, it's like something that I need to do. And when I look at my career, I sometimes cannot believe, like, Israel has been an independent country for 75 years. When I was in Mumbai, I was the first consul general, a woman consul general. When my last job in the foreign ministry, I was the inspector general, which is a high-level job in Israel. I was the first woman inspector general, which doesn't make sense. And here I'm the second woman ambassador in Thailand. For me, when I see a glass ceiling, I'm trying to break it. And I think that when you take the four Ps and the 3 Cs and you put it all together, you tell yourself all the time, I'm as good and I can do it, and I will speak up my mind even if some people are not happy to hear that, and I will sit next to the table and not behind, because I want my voice to be heard and I want to be seen and I want to be remembered as someone that is sitting around the table, and I'm not going to be shy. Now, to tell you that it's easy, no. To tell you that always it's accepted nicely but by everyone, saying, oh, she is very talkative, no. And the stereotypes are still there, and many times people will say, yeah, women, they are too loud, or they are too this or too that, whatever. So sometimes you have to be resilient, and you have to believe in yourself, and you have to tell yourself all the time, this is my goal, and I'm going to get there. And it doesn't matter what is my goal. Honestly, my goal can be different than other women. Maybe I'm happy with, being ambassador in certain places, and maybe other people will say, no, we want to be in other. That's okay. But with yourself and with your family. And one more thing that I believe, I'll conclude with that, on that point, is I believe that you must have support also from your family. I couldn't have done what I've been doing in the past 30 years without my husband that supports me also with the children. And I always say that he doesn't help me at home. We see that as something that we are partners. I do what I can, he does what he can. Many times in the family, they call me the foreign minister because I'm always out. And I'm always the one that is taking care of stuff outside. But it's okay, because this is how our family is built, and this is how I get the support from my children also and my husband. And I believe that I couldn't have done it without him. If he told me no, we don't want to go overseas, I don't want to do, I give up for you, and I couldn't have done it. So I think for me, this is another very important factor.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with all the ladies here. Probably want to highlight just one more factor. I believe that we can be determined, we can do, go for it and things like that. We can do well while we're still doing good. So it's very important to remember that to be nice to people, to be nice to others, to help others. And I think this might be the key that female, do better. Because we care more, right? So we help each other more, which I think this factor, somehow helps, enforce the networking things that we talked about before. Because you don't know that you're helping this person today, someday in the future, that person may help you in other ways. You never know. So doing well while doing good is very important. But having said that, don't be naive, right? It doesn't mean that, you cannot take advantage from others. You shouldn't take advantage from others, but at the same time, you shouldn't let other people take advantage of you as well. That's very important. You help others, but that is the barrier, that's the line there. So just be sure you're doing good things, you help others, but don't let people take advantage of you. I think that's also helping you to grow and build network that supporting each other now, in the future, you never know. Yeah.
May I add something? I think that about 20, 30 years ago, women that go to become managers and bosses and CEOs, they thought that they should behave like men. They should be tough, they should shout, they should be, they should be men. And I saw it with some of my bosses in the past. And I think today, when now I'm a manager and I have I'm an ambassador, I don't think that I have to shout at people in order to get their respect or to get them to do stuff or to collaborate. I believe that women, we have our own style. And I think we should embrace it and not try to become men. I don't want to be a man. I don't want to behave like a man. And I enjoy doing what I do. Some women are more successful or less successful, it doesn't matter. But don't try to be something that you're not. And what you said is exactly that. Be more empathetic. Enjoy the family, like a family kind of oriented business. Don't try to be someone that you're not.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Can I add a little bit? One thing for becoming a mom, one thing that can be used in the company, I think, is the word kind but firm. Yeah, it is the way to be assertive about your things.
Assertive but not
yes,
aggressive.
assertive but not aggressive. Yes, and not too sensitive. It's kind but firm. Yeah, it's a girl boss.
Being
Okay.
a girl boss sounds
Yep.
like keeping a very, very thin balance in between kind but not firm, but then also assertive but helpful but not naive. So I think there's a lot of these qualities that are about the balance, and I think maybe predominantly women are also quite good at balancing those qualities. So I think what we've heard today is determination, supporting others and find a supportive environment and ecosystem for yourself, and then stay true to yourself, and be loud and as loud as you want to be. So I wanted to ask if there is any questions from the audience that you would like to ask our wonderful speakers who have been here today. If you do, yeah, raise the hand. And I think we have an extra mic that we can just... Or if you are very loud, you can be very loud. Here's your practice round for being very loud.
Hello, everyone. So I would like to thank all of the speakers for taking the time to share their stories today. I really appreciate. So I have two questions. My first question is directed to the third speaker, Kun Maneerut. Okay. So you talked about using the 4 Ps to excel as women, right? But I think that using these 4 Ps alone is not sufficient to break the existing bias, because you can use these 4 Ps and still exist in a society where the mindset has not changed. So I want to ask, keeping this limitation in mind, what practical steps can we take in our little spheres of influence to ensure that we create the change we want to see in the future? Because you can choose to be passionate, determined, and everything, but then the society around you doesn't let you express yourself because of the mindset they still have. So what do you think we can do, practical steps, to ensure that we see the future we want to see?
Okay, thank you for the questions. Yes, I think 4P is just for you, yourself, the internal drive, to drive yourselves, because I believe that, there's the external factor. Sometimes, not sometimes, but most of the time, there will be external factor that you cannot control. But at least internally is the thing that you can control, right? So no matter the environment, the external factor is gonna be, as long as you push yourself hard enough, you may get a chance, right? But if you don't push yourself at all, there definitely is going to be no chance, right? So I think that's the first thing. But definitely in terms of changing the mindset of the society, I think that takes time. And of course, it starts from, us, female sisterhood things that we can drive together. I think it's very important to, in any particular society, to have a role model. That's very important. I think we highlight that before. But how can we highlight and, make that role model shine? I believe in every society, in any market, in any country, there will definitely be a female successful, somewhere, somehow. But whether we highlight them enough to make it, the thing that that the people look up to and say female can also do it or that is very important. So finding the role model, finding the key female successors in that particular country or society and highlight them. That's one thing we can do. And secondly, the female who's successful in that particular country or society, they have to be probably, they have to be the one who lead the change. They need to also step up and address it and be a coach, be a mentor, providing the network. We already talked about that, right? Providing the network. But if the female successor said, Her Excellency say, oh, I'm very happy here and I don't want to do anything more, then it's very difficult to change the mindset or the perception in that particular society. So we need the society to highlight the role model. The role model herself need to also step up and do things more for the society, the female society. And I believe that bit by bit, I wouldn't say that it can change in a day. It probably takes sometimes, Ms. Daria already mentioned 132 years, right? But we hope that with the attempt that we try, internally drive by yourself and externally, with whoever already success in that society, men also play a very particular important role here as well. It cannot be, we drive the gender equality and only female drive it. That's not gonna happen. it's gonna be from male as well. So how we can, you know, bit by bit change that mindset, and hopefully we can shorten that 132 years. Hopefully, like by 50 years or something, is still better, right? I believe that like we need to like work together, like every party. But importantly, it's like from yourself. The 4P I mentioned is for you yourself to drive. External factor sometimes you cannot control, but internally yourself you can control it. Yeah, that's what I believe. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. So my second question is directed to Professor Kaywalee. So I heard you say that women are usually better communicators and collaborators. So we have the strength that sometimes men don't have. So I want to ask, should our fight for gender equality not be about maximizing the strengths that we already have as women? Because it feels like what we currently have is us trying to outdo men or trying to be at par with men. So should it not be about maximizing the strengths we have, some of them which you already highlighted?
Sorry, I don't clear on the question.
So you, during your lecture, you said that we have better communication habits as women, and we also have the tendency to collaborate more than men most times. So I understand that these are strengths that women have. So I was going to ask that, should our fight for gender equality right now not be about identifying these strengths which we have as women that sometimes men don't have and maximizing them? Because it feels like what we currently have is a competition where we are trying to be at the same level as men or trying to outdo men. So which of this should it be? Should it be us maximizing our strengths as females that come naturally to us? Or should it be about trying to be at the same level of men, having 50-50% everywhere?
No. I think the first message that I started with is that I'm not using men as my benchmark, and I went to the second slide showing that compared to AI, the skill that AI can replace, and these three skills the AI cannot replace men. I mean human. I would say human, and I think and these among these three skills are also our women's strengths. So I'm not comparing the characteristics or skills between women and men, but yeah. I focus on what we can do, and just in my idea that I think women can do these three skills better than men. Yeah, so strengthen our strength. Then we will can work together with men, not replacing men, but together with men. Yeah.
So thank you very much for that answer. Right. I'm done.
Okay. Do we have any more questions? Yes.
Right.
Oh, sure.
If I may.
No. Please go ahead.
It's okay if I make some comments. Yeah, very typical, right? This only guy here, and instead of asking questions, just come and say something. I'm not going to speak on behalf of men, rather on behalf of a faculty of innovation. First of all, I just want to share some anecdote. Ajahn Chia Saro, who's an English guy who became a monk, is very good in Thai history. He read a lot of Thai history. And what he discovered was that in Ayutthaya, which is about the old city, 300, 400 years ago, a lot of foreigners or visitors from Europe came to Thailand. And what they noticed about Thai women was not that Thai women were pretty, not a mention, but the characteristic that it was logged in the European journal was that Thai women were very good at commerce. In fact, all the power of commerce was held in women. So in a way, you have to think of it as So maybe we got a historical head start, but of course, the commercial sector in a way became more, take on the more paternal characteristic, like a Chinese family character. So we kind of, that's just something I want to throw out there. But here's the thing about gender opportunity. I just have two things to say. Okay, one is I think yes, as a matter of policy and planning and advocacy, numbers matter. Numbers matter, but sometimes I think we can't really focus on quantitative aspects. There's a lot more nuance to it. I'll just give you a somewhat artificial example. If you want to take, say, equality or opportunity of women, and you look at, say, jet pilot, for example, you see that there's like 500 men jet fighter for every one lady who makes it. Okay, now why is that? So a lot of it is obviously cultural, but there's also the biological aspect. Now, one of the biological aspects is that the current generation is women tend to be shorter. That's easy to fix. They can fix the jet suit, the G-force suit to make it smaller. On the other hand, women also have a longer proportion of torso to legs. Now, if you're a jet pilot, you have to squeeze the blood from the legs. You can't squeeze the blood from your guts because you pass out, right? So, in a way, there's an inherent bias, physiological bias toward men because you can squeeze more blood from the leg side. So women would be excellent at a lower G load factor, for example. So, and this is just a technical thing. It's obvious because it's physiological, but there are factors that are cultural. There are factors that are like your Excellency, the message mentioned, the networking history, that men are much better at networking because we came from, I guess, the mentality of hunter or something like that. So I think focusing on number per se is sometimes can lead us into a false target, because we say, okay, well, in this industry the number is not right, in this industry is already 50-50, so this industry is already a good job. Maybe this industry that has women already dominating 60%, in fact should be 70%. So there's a lot of nuance in the sexual demarcation, physiological education, and so forth. But I think that the stronger point I would like to make from again Faculty of Innovation point is this. I'd like to go back to Your Excellency, the ambassador's point about STEM education. I think this is perhaps the key that we are not stressing enough. When I was a kid, boys, we were talking about girls all the time, obviously. But what I remember was when I was very young, we talked about girls who were popular, and all of them were popular because they were smart. Looking back, it was never the prettiest one. It was always the smartest one. And in fact, they were always the top of the class. Men always came like, fifth, seventh. And then by the time you get to high school, women start dropping out. Now, why do I think this is important? Let me make artificial distinction in terms of innovation. You can think of innovation in two kind of camp. One sort of like deep tech innovation that requires a lot of art and science and research and so forth. And there's the innovation that basically consumer facing. Okay, innovation in consumer platform and so forth. Now, I am Thai, right? Let's say I go to United States and I set up a Thai grocery and I make a lot of money selling to Thai people. Would you say that I made it to America? You wouldn't, right? Right? I was just basically selling to my own people. Well, the thing with innovation that's not deep tech is that, and this is not just in Thailand, when women are successful in that space, the only role model we have are women who are successful at selling to women. Right? I mean, I don't mean to be trivial, but you look at Hollywood movies, for example, you get this thing about women becoming successful in business, And in all of those movies, the business they have is selling women's clothes, right? On the other hand, we have Zara, which is basically 80-90% women's clothes run by men. So if we are focused so much on the sort of like, beauty industry or, consumer focus, it's going to be natural that women can make breakthrough in that space by selling to women. And that's it. And it's sort of like, preaching to the converted. It's a little bit like this room. You're talking about celebrating women. You're celebrating women among women. I mean, I'm probably the only guy here, and I brought my daughter. So maybe the only legit real man who's here just being a man attending a women's event is Bajindo over there, perhaps. So what I think is that if you have this, I don't mean to say that STEM is everything. I love liberal arts, I love philosophy and that tradition. But I think this drop off in the STEM population is very important. So what's going to happen is, BASI has a program about innovation. What's going to happen? The men will do maybe some engineering, high-tech, AI, come to my class, and women would just say, well, we just have some kind of platform like Shopee or something. And that, due in part, I think, from the drop-off in that STEM population. I think that's something that I think we really need to address. And then that's my two bit, not from being men, but from being innovation faculty.
Thank you. I think we're very honored here to have women from industries that are very broad and catering to all genders, women and men. I mean, tech industry is very men-oriented and men-facing. Also, the ScII Thailand is not really a women's business. So I'm very honored to have you guys here to speak. And I hope that the next event we have will have more men here because the invitation is open and
If I may add a little bit, I think, thank you for the point, Professor, and I do agree with that. I think the numbers of female drop because of the high school or whatsoever. That's the fact that we have this event today. I don't think we're here to celebrate the International Women's Day, but I think we're here to inspire the female young entrepreneurs, and I think that's the core reason, and actually the main reason I'm making my time to come here, because I think it's very, we believe in like having the role model, sharing the story, inspiring the young female entrepreneurs so that they can become successful in their own way in somehow. The celebration part, I think it's just the small part of the day today. And I think it's very important for us to drive. I do agree number doesn't really tell anything, but we need to help driving and make sure that the female girls taking the class in stem cell and in the STEM and they're not like dropping off. We as a if you view us as a successful female whatever, and the faculty also help that, I believe that we can increase the numbers and inspire more girls to take a part in the STEM education and become successful as hopefully the number don't drop, and that would be some kind of like key metrics that we can count in the future.
Thank you. There's one more question from the audience from a student, so I think you can ask the last one.
So first of all, I would like to thank for all of the speakers for this empowering sessions. My question is that, is there any time that you feel like giving up, and how do you overcome that moment?
Okay.
Giving up? I believe that everybody have a time feeling like giving up, but okay, you have to find some things that keeps you going. For me, it's the purpose of deliver the good things to the good contents to the audience, and brighten up their knowledge and their days. That's one of the things. And another thing is because in a deeper level, I think being in my spot, which is the woman who can do everything I want and I can enjoy and such things. I would like to keep this pace to maybe some inspiration for younger generations like you to grow up and be whatever you want, you know, because everybody can be ever whatever you want. I truly believe that. So that's the thing that keeps me going. Surely, as I mentioned before, it's so hard to be a mom and also entrepreneur and also a content creator and blah blah blah. But you have to find that spot, and sometimes you have to rest. Actually, I'm not good at resting. I'm the restless person. Previously to this, it's just like I always do the sprint on the marathon length of running. But the most important thing, I think, you should finding balance inside you. You know, not a work-life balance thing, but the balance inside. That when you feel like giving up or you feel like too drained, even if you have so many flow energy because you enjoy so much about what you're doing, but you know sometimes, because you enjoy so much, your body is fatigued and you don't realize that until it's boom. So you have to find your inner peace and inner voice. And I think this is a very important thing for everybody, not just only women, but everybody that lives in the digital age, which everything is running so fast that you have to find your inner peace. You have to look introspectively into yourself, and then you can go and recharge your own energy and go fight with your dreams and go fulfill your dream. Yes.
Anyone else wants to add on this?
I would just add that, you know, I think that we grow up, and the more you kind of get promoted, everyone is looking at you, and you have the sense in yourself that you can never stop. But I think sometimes, like if you have a headache, so you take a pill, sometimes when you want to give up, just give up. It's also okay to give up sometimes. We need to understand that we are not super mother, super boss, super wife, super everything, super student. Sometimes you have to just let go on yourself and just say, okay, let me think about it again, and maybe on this particular one, I give up. It doesn't mean that that's it. From today on, I'm just going to sit with my legs up and do nothing. But I think it's also part of growing up, also to know sometimes to give up on yourself and give up on something. And it is not something to be ashamed of. Actually, I believe that it just shows that you are thinking. You are not doing things kind of automatically because you have to. It's okay sometimes to stop and say, okay, I recalculate, you know, and then I do something different. And when we're talking about the work-home balance, we always speak about the family and about the work. And we sometimes forget there is another part in this triangle, which I believe is a triangle, which is us. And as we need the time to recharge, and if recharging meaning doing meditation or running or just going to the beach or having coffee with your friends, I think that in this kind of, for me it's a long marathon, sometimes you need to again stop and say, okay, I need now 2 hours for myself. And I think it doesn't matter men or women, and we need that because we live in a crazy world, and it's the speed of what happens in our world is so high. So sometimes it's okay, you know, to stop. And I think this is something, it takes time to learn it, even to, you know, very energetic people, but yes, you need it from time to time, I believe.
So I just like to support Her Excellency about is this very normal, common that feeling that we can have every day. What I do is sleep. I will go and sleep. So I have no problem with sleeping at all. And you know, yesterday is the sleeping world day. Yeah, sleeping day. World Sleeping Day. World Sleeping Day. I like it very much. Yeah. So as soon as I feel giving up, as soon as I tired, just there's a voice, a call from the body inside, and yeah, I go to sleep. And when you wake up, everything will be new. And yeah, as we always say, the sun will rise up every morning. Yeah. So I encourage you and encourage everyone who are having the feeling of giving up. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to add anything about giving up?
Yeah, I agree with that. Sleep is very important too. Yeah, and give up is okay. As long as you do all the, think through and you feel that like it doesn't work anymore, it's okay to give up. I mean, for example, like I run ScII, right? For example, we have like many different products, and we give up a lot of them because it just doesn't make sense. As long as you have the full analysis and you feel that it's okay, But after you do all the analysis, you feel that actually there's still a hope there. There's still something you believe that is gonna happen. Then just take a break. Right, like all these ladies mentioned, and sometimes it can be as simple as there's 3 things you ask yourself: are you doing this because you have to do it? If you have to do it, แบบต้องทำ then maybe it's not the right thing, right? Whether you ought to do it is something you ควรจะทำ or not, right? Then maybe it's not right. But if you ask and you say, well, oh, I have a chance, I get a chance to do it. Then you feel excited about it. Then you don't give up. I think you just ask like, you have to do it, you ought to do it, or you get to do it. If it's the third one, you get to do it, then that means you have passion, you still believe in it, come back and then you go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that if you don't want to fail or, which is also fine, or you want to give up, just take care of yourself and maybe trust your gut is one of the other things. And if you want to give something up, it's totally fine to do so. I wanted to thank the audience who were here with us today. I hope you did get inspired and empowered to go out of this door and then pursue your dreams, be loud or be quiet as much as you want. And I wanted to thank once again to all our wonderful speakers who spend their time here with us today, sharing their knowledge, expertise, some of the tips and advices that I definitely will take on. I also wanted to thank the Embassy of Israel for helping us and collaborating on this event. And before we finish off, I think we can take a picture together. So I may ask our speakers to come to the front, face the